Hello everyone, and thank you for joining us for another Coffee with CRGroup webinar, where we will review the various solutions available to help you get more from your investment in Microsoft Dynamics. My name is John Smith, and I'm Director of Enterprise Business Solutions here at CRG. I have been involved with the Dynamics product, Dynamics GP, for 15 years, first as a client and for the last 12 with CRGroup. I've been involved in many implementations covering all of the modules in the product, and very pleased to be presenting our solutions to you today. And of course, this would not be Coffee with CRGroup without some Starbucks coffee to go along with it. So please keep an eye out for a $5 Starbucks card coming your way in the next little while. I also want to give a quick shout out to everyone who visited us at our booth at Convergence in Atlanta a few weeks ago. It's great to have you as part of the webinar today. It was nice to speak with you, and we look forward to speaking with you more. So just a bit of background before we get started. Corporate Renaissance Group was founded in 1989, so this is year number 26 for us. And really, we kind of break ourselves down into three main areas. We have a management consulting practice. Of course, we are a certified partner and reseller of industry-leading solutions such as Microsoft Dynamics, GP, AX, SharePoint, CRM, as well as various budgeting solutions including Board and Adaptive Insights. We are also a software developer, and of course these themes will all come together over the next 30 minutes in the information that we're going to share with you today. So when we break this down and talk specifically about what we offer, let's think about this in kind of two camps. The first is our add-on solutions for Microsoft Dynamics. And here we're looking at really tools to enable easier transaction entry, configuration and maintenance tools to help with actually running the Dynamics GP product. We also have more enterprise-level software solutions. And here in this camp, we're going to talk about our talent management solution, a reporting and analysis solution for Microsoft CRM, and some budgeting and costing solutions. So I'd like to spend a little while just diving into each one of these areas. And we're going to start with our add-ons for Microsoft Dynamics GP. Certainly, we are well known in the Dynamics channel for the upper left-hand quadrant, actually for a lot of these boxes. But certainly Changer was a game changer for CRG and for the channel, and for all the Dynamics GP customers. So Changer is a product that we'll talk about it a little bit here and go into some details about how it's used and some of our experiences with it. We also talk about Company Combiner, Reformatter, Analytical Accounting Tools, and Project Accounting Tools. And so we'll spend a little time here just giving you a few details on each one of these. First, Changer, is something it's been used by over 5,000 organizations around the world to change the general ledger chart of accounts structure in Dynamics GP. So it allows us to really effortlessly renumber, resequence, and merge general ledger accounts. And from my experience, we've been involved in assisting on a services side in many of these types of projects. Sometimes clients, once they're at the 5 to 7 year mark with Dynamics GP, really find a need for a restructure. There's lots of reasons out there why they do. The business might have changed. There could be new business units. There could be a new management team that wants a different reporting. Lots of reasons to change your GL structure. And Changer is a great tool for doing that. It is absolutely the fastest tool available on the market to do it, hands down. It combines the ability to renumber the accounts and resequence the accounts as well as merge them in one pass. It doesn't break it down into multiple passes. It keeps a history and audit log of all of the changes that you do inside the application, and I can tell you that from a financial audit standpoint, the auditors are going to love that because they will have come in last year to look at the books, and they'll have their own trial balances from last year, and then all of a sudden you hand them a new trial balance at the end of the year and you say, well, we need a bit of a crosswalk here. We need a bit of a mapping exercise, a from-to template to help us. And Changer will keep that history it'll be there forever. And that's one of the main advantages. Another real main advantage of using Changer to modify your general ledger and account structure is that it reaches out to a long list of third-party products to do that as well. So some popular ones, and they're available on our website, but popular ones like Wensoft and others, if you're using those and they're impacted by the chart of account setup in the Dynamics product, Changer has the ability to reach out and change those as well. I should mention it also allows you to change and merge vendor, customer, item, and project codes as well as employee codes. So Changer is really a great tool to have in-house for anyone who's a power user or in charge of administering Dynamics GP. Now, Changer has a good story that goes along with Reformatter, and oftentimes when we get involved in the deeper chart of accounts restructures, we often need the Reformatter piece included with it. Reformatter is used in situations where an account framework is locked and the new structure demands more segments and a greater, longer character length in the new chart of account structure. And if that is the case you're facing, or you need to, you need an extra segment, you say, well, I'm already locked at a certain number of digits, I can't open it up, Reformatter will do that for you. And so Reformatter and Changer often go hand in hand, and it's an important component to remember. So anytime you're looking at a chart of accounts restructure, certainly take a look at the account framework to see whether or not it's been locked and will meet your future requirements. Company Combiner, it's got a nice hot logo up there. This is one of the main areas of interest coming out of Convergence and has been for the last few years. What we have here is a combination of a product and service approach that allows us to combine multiple GP companies into one parent or master company. So this means that inside Dynamics GP, we've got essentially a big company set up with multiple entities, and an organization may decide, you know what, all of them or some of them need to be consolidated into one Dynamics GP entity. And so with Company Combiner, we establish what the parent company will be and essentially merge in the other company databases. In many cases, the client may use Binary Streams multi-entity management product on a go-forward basis, and in some cases they do not. But basically the advantage here is that you do not lose your history, and all of your transactions that were in the legacy companies will still be available in the new consolidated entity. So this is something that's getting a lot of attention. We've got lots and lots of examples and references for work we've done over the last number of years with Company Combiner. And certainly if you're in that boat, you probably know the challenge. It's easier to manage fewer company databases than more in GP, and lots of reasons to consolidate. So take a look at this if this is something that you're dealing with as an issue today. Analytical accounting tools is something we brought out probably in version 9. We were really excited about analytical accounting when it came out in version 8 as an organization. We saw a lot of promise with it, and we specifically saw an ability to help many different types of clients, including many nonprofits that we deal with, whose reporting challenges and reporting needs may change year to year. And some of those situations, locking in a client to a hard-coded GL structure wasn't always the right answer. And we've spent a significant amount of time on analytical accounting, both with implementations and support, and through this have come up with some challenges and have addressed them in a number of ways, and those evolved into really tool sets that we feel help. And I want to talk about 3 of these. AA Segment Converter, our Analytical Accounting Changer, and Analytical Accounting Backfiller. Segment Converter, first and foremost, is available and used when clients migrate from an environment that didn't have analytical accounting to one that does. And oftentimes we hear from clients, gee, if I'd only had analytical accounting when we implemented GP, I might have decided to do this differently. And Segment Converter really is there to facilitate someone with that thinking and with that background, because what it does is it allows us to map underlying transactional data that's held in a segment and more or less map it or mirror it in analytical accounting. So let's take, for example, we've done this one in town with somebody where, for whatever reason, they had a project list, and the project was set up as a segment in the chart of account structure. And they didn't need full-blown project accounting, so they tracked some cost accumulation in a project segment. And they realized that shortly thereafter that when we track against projects and track against segments, it means that even if the project ends, we still have to carry that segment in our chart. And boy, we'd like to have that in analytical accounting. So what we can do with Segment Converter is essentially establish a project segment dimension in analytical accounting. And on every transaction that used the project segment in the chart of account structure, we can essentially map it to a project segment in analytical accounting. And that means that all of your history, more or less, moves up into analytical accounting. Now, if you're using the changer product that we just mentioned, you could eliminate the underlying project segment in the GL structure and still maintain all of the history up in analytical accounting. So Segment Converter is an important tool if you're looking to migrate to an analytical accounting environment. If you've been using analytical accounting for a while, you may find Analytical Accounting Changer to be a useful tool. It allows you to change and merge analytical accounting codes. And certainly for those clients out there that use analytical accounting, that need comes up, and it's a great tool for using that. In addition, Analytical Accounting Backfiller is a tool that's used where at the end of, say, a fiscal period, we want to go and do a batch update and populate analytical accounting with information. So inside there, it means that at the end of a month, for instance, we might have timesheet data, and we might say, well, we've got corporate payroll that's gone through in the month, and the timesheet data tells us where employees have spent their time, and we want to allocate their time to business units that are held in analytical accounting. Backfiller is a great way to accomplish a task like that. We have the data at the end of the period. We know how analytical accounting should have been populated if we were doing it as we entered it. And Backfiller will allow us to go in and more or less do a batch update routine back into history to populate analytical accounting. Project accounting tools are another area that's come up through our experience implementing and supporting project accounting in Dynamics GP. We have done a ton of project accounting stuff, and these tools really came out of our experience with clients. And three really important ones here. If you're using project accounting, you'll love GL Validator. The GL Validator tool is something that is used to identify if the target GL accounts exist based on the project accounting configuration that you're using. Now, this gets a little bit deep, and you'd have to be a power user in project accounting to really appreciate this, but project accounting has a great functionality that allows us at project and contract levels to do something called sub-account overrides. And it basically means you can define what segments are used with what projects. But what it doesn't do is it doesn't validate whether or not the possible string of GL account that results from the transaction actually exists in the general ledger. It's possible we could do segment overrides and end up with a whole setup where the final GL account does not exist. And so Project Accounting GL Validator will tell us that. And I can see that it would be very useful for new project accounting clients, because what happens with new project accounting clients is if this hasn't been thought through, a user going through it may end up getting an error message that says the target GL account does not exist. And that can be very frustrating when you're first starting to use project accounting. So it's important to point out that this is a really good tool, and it's something that can be used on an ongoing basis. And again, if you're a power user with project accounting, you can appreciate what I'm saying. The PA Budget Importer is another tool that allows us with our cost categories to import budgets against cost categories. And it just seems to be a piece of functionality that's needed out there. If you go to the detail of doing cost category budgeting and project accounting, this will make your life easier because you can import those budgets from Excel. And finally, project accounting cubes are a really important piece to the whole solution. Project accounting cubes allow us to report and analyze on project accounting data and really bring a level of sophistication and analysis to the tool that's not there out of the box. So this is definitely something that would be very useful to have. Okay, let's talk about more about our software solutions and our enterprise solutions that we bring to the Dynamics GP marketplace. And these really fall into employee performance management, trend and report analysis for Dynamics CRM, and budgeting and costing solutions. So certainly one of the hot solutions, continues to be a hot one at Convergence, is mPerform. I've been personally involved in many mPerform implementations over the last decade. And at Convergence, maybe because we're likely the only vendor there that has an integration to Dynamics, to the Dynamics ERPs of GP and AX, we seem to get a lot of attention. And certainly mPerform is an award-winning employee performance management solution. And basically what it allows us to do is automate the traditional performance management process, but take it and improve the process through things like 360 reviews, continuous year-round feedback, performance journaling, certainly surveys. For those organizations that want to tie compensation to performance results, the compensation merit tool is extremely effective. And as well, it provides great insight into talent. And one of the challenges we have in organizations nowadays is really understanding what talent means. And if you live in the world of HR, you'd really appreciate the challenge that we're spending all this money on people, and at the end of the day, how do we measure that? How do we measure the effectiveness? How do we motivate people? And certainly the performance management process can be an integral component to achieving those objectives. And technology plays a role. So mPerform is absolutely an enabler, and it helps organizations who want to redesign their process and really come to the modern world in terms of employee performance management. So if that's something that your organization is looking at, mPerform can definitely help. It has an integration, as I mentioned, pre-built between Microsoft Dynamics GP and mPerform to keep mPerform up to date and synchronized to your Dynamics setup. We also have a product called Trend Miner, and Trend Miner is a reporting and analytics product. Really, it's an analysis tool for Microsoft Dynamics CRM. And what it does is it basically captures CRM data and in kind of a almost on a daily basis. And what that really allows us to do is it allows us to do analysis and look into trends to reveal what's happening in CRM and how things are changing. And if you're a user of CRM like I am, really CRM provides you with great insight as to where everything is today. It's as of today, it's got great built-in dashboards and reporting capability. However, if you want to go back and look at how things have changed over the last quarter, for instance, it's more difficult to get there. And Trend Miner really fills that void and provides functionality to give you that view. And again, just taking snapshots of the data and showing it and being able to drill back and look over time really reveals some interesting trends. If you were a sales manager with a sales team using Dynamics CRM, I would say to you that you really need to take a good look at this product because it's going to give you insights that you simply cannot get from CRM itself. And you might be able to remember, if you're like me and you look at CRM every day, you might be able to remember where things were mentally, but you can't go back in time. So Trend Miner is a great tool for going back in time and actually seeing how the trends came about. We also have budgeting and costing solutions for Dynamics and for the Dynamics channel, and there's two I want to talk about here. The two solutions we're going to talk about, first is Board, and Board is a highly configurable corporate performance management solution. And we also have and resell Adaptive Insights, which again is another corporate performance management solution. But the two of them are kind of different, and that's why we have two solutions that we're certified on and that we implement. I want to kind of break these down a little bit. On the board side, it is very effective where we need to model a process. Adaptive Insights is very effective in an organization where we can say budgeting can be done more or less at the GL account level or segment level. And if we take a chart of account structure, we can use that as the basis of the budgeting side. On the board side, it would come into play for something like this. Let's suppose we want to do create our own screens and provide them to budget contributors for something like a project budget. And we want to, we don't want to use general ledger accounts as a point of entry. We want to actually use names and activities, project names and activities, and structure it around that. Board would allow us to model that. Board would allow us to create kind of our own unique customized interface and structure for data input. So, in the budgeting world, we kind of refer to that as modeling, and board is really powerful if you're in that side. If you have a very well thought out chart of account structure and you believe it can be used as the basis of transaction and basically budget entry into a budget model, then Adaptive Insights is a great tool for you for that. So both of these complement each other nicely. They're both industry-leading solutions. They both have great reviews with Gartner and others out there. So encourage you to take a look. And if budgeting's on the horizon, certainly think of us. Costing solutions we bring to the market include CRG Cost Allocator and Flex ABM. And we'll talk just briefly about these. Cost Allocator really takes what we do in Dynamics through fixed and variable allocations and kind of puts it on steroids. It does multi-level cost allocations, okay, and basically has some really attractive features. First of all, what it does is it's a separate database that does the allocation calculations. So essentially it synchronizes itself to GP, but when you go in and set up an allocation model and you run your allocations, and you run those in Cost Allocator, and then you determine how you want to send the post-allocation data back to GP. And I think this is really where we get a great advantage, because we can send it back to GP in two ways. We can send it back as a batch of entries to be posted in the general ledger, basically to allocate the data, or we can send it back as a budget ID. So I love talking about Cost Allocator with a challenge I see with a lot of our clients, where they come up with a nice corporate GL structure, and somebody, a controller, CFO, inevitably says, well, we want to see a fully loaded P&L across all products or business lines. And as the accountants, we stand back and say, well, that's nice, but we don't code all the transactions out to those business lines or products. Cost Allocator could solve that problem. We could build an allocation model, make some assumptions about percentages of spend that should be allocated across, and where we know exact numbers, we can put them in. And we can run the allocation. And we could actually go back and post that back to GP just as a budget ID. So then with Management Reporter, we could read this allocation budget ID and actually show a picture of, here's what it looks like fully allocated. But we're not going into GP and actually moving transactions all around and creating journal entries to repost everything. So it's actually quite a powerful product. If you have an allocation need, definitely, and that can't be satisfied with existing functionality on fixed and variable allocations, definitely give us a call and let's have a chat about it, because it's a product that while unique, has a great appeal for many organizations. Flex ABM is full-blown activity-based costing solution. We've done a number, many implementations of this, and really, if you have a need to do full-blown activity-based costing, Flex ABM is a fantastic tool for that. And again, something we'd be happy to speak to you about if you're looking for full-blown activity-based costing and management solutions. And I think that really wraps up our budgeting component. Certainly, if this is of any interest to you, please check out our website, crgroup.com/budgeting, and you can find more information on all of these solutions there. At this point, what I'll do is just take a quick look to see if there's any questions that have come in, and we will want to address those right away. Okay, so there are a couple of questions that I've received here, and I just want to spend a minute just getting to those. The first is on analytical accounting tools, and the question is about Changer. Does analytical accounting Changer come with GL Changer? And the answer to that question is no, it is a separate license to do analytical accounting Changer, so you can take just the analytical accounting Changer. You don't have to buy GL Changer to do it. Another question is mPerform a hosted solution? mPerform can be deployed both on-premise in your own network environment or as a traditional hosted solution through a subscription license with us. So it's a bit of a differentiator for us in that both licensing options are available. You mentioned services that accompany PA tools. Are there any services that accompany PA tools? We can help, certainly, with any of your project accounting setup, but the PA tools themselves are meant to be run and administered by the client and by the power user in the organization. So you do not need services from us to run project accounting tools. If you have questions about project accounting or the ultimate great setup of project accounting, or you're having challenges, we'd love to chat with you about it and share our expertise and our experience there. And I think that's got it for today. So I want to, again, say thank you to everyone who joined us today. And certainly, we appreciate you being here. And a reminder, if you've got some experiences with CRGroup, we'd encourage you to reach out and share them. Share your story at crgroup.com/iHeartCRG, and for every story we get, we will donate $10 to the Heart and Stroke Foundation, and you will get your name entered in a monthly prize draw for a grand prize of a $250 Visa gift card. So check out the site and share your story. We'd appreciate it. And with that, thank you very much for joining us. If you're interested in more information, please reach out. My contact information is up on the screen, and certainly lots of information on our website at crgroup.com. Thanks again, folks. Have a great day. Bye-bye.